Good evening, class. This is Tara Bell-Janowick, and I'm your instructor for English 122 with Southern New Hampshire University. And as we discussed last week in our video, I wanted to follow up this week and give you guys a little bit more information about your prompt for your narrative essay. So, as you engage in the Week 2 discussion board, you will see that you are going to provide your topic and your thesis statement for your narrative in that discussion, okay? So before you can really get too deep into that discussion, it's important for you to understand the prompt for the narrative essay. So you can find this in your Module 2 work at the bottom. There's a link to Guidelines and Rubrics, and then you'll look for Narrative First Draft. You can also find this if you go over to the left-hand toolbar and click Course Information, okay, and then Guidelines and Rubrics and Narrative Essay. So I'm going to dig right into the meat, so to speak, of that prompt. This is your assignment, and this is your purpose for writing, okay? So, in this assignment, you will write a narrative essay about an experience or conflict you have had that led you to realize a larger point or see the bigger picture. For example, you may have been pressured into doing something you did not want to do. You may have been forced to react quickly to a situation without having time to think. Your actions may have led you closer to danger than you anticipated, or you may have reacted to a situation in anger, fear, or even with humor. Your essay can be serious or light in tone. Use elements of descriptive language to purposefully advance your story. Okay, so that's what we're asking you to do, okay? In that very first sentence, there are a few things that I want to address with you guys that are going to help you a lot as you come up with an idea for this particular essay, all right? It asks you to write about an experience or conflict, okay? When you look at the guidelines and rubric, you will see on the rubric that quite a few points are given to narrating a central event, okay? Now, central event is the actual story that you're going to tell. This is where you use action and description and dialogue. So because there's so much credit placed on identifying a central event, and because you've only got 2 to 3 pages for this overall assignment, it's really important for you to zoom in tightly on one event to tell the story about, okay? If you're thinking about something that happened over the course of several years, right now your focus is too big, and I want you to zoom in like a camera doing a close-up on one day, one event that happened within that time frame that might be an example of the bigger picture, okay? If you are thinking about something that occurred during high school or something that had a lasting effect on you, okay? Again, zoom it in tightly and find the central event to give me detail and description of, okay? Some really good examples, all right? You might want to tell the story of one particular fight that you had with one particular person, okay? You might want to tell the story of being hired at a job or fired from a job, zooming in on the day that that action happened, all right? You might want to tell the story of a car accident and narrate using action, description, detail, and dialogue the actual car accident. It could be something as simple as an afternoon hike, a trip to an amusement park, or a visit with your aunt, okay? At the same time, we are looking for the realization, the conflict resolution, and your so what moment, okay? So let's say you write a story about that car accident. What did you learn from that changed you or affected you? Let's say you write about an afternoon hike. Maybe this helped you to get over your fear of heights, right? Let's say you wrote about having a fight with a customer at work or with one of your bosses. This might have led you to realize that you're in the wrong job, okay? The other thing that we see in that first sentence is the word conflict. And again, when students see that term conflict, They often think of the textbook definition, all right, of conflict as an argument or a fight or a situation where there's an opposing force working negatively on you. And that's not always the case. I want you guys to think of conflict in more of the literary perspective, where the conflict is the central internal workings. It could be an internal struggle, okay, or it could be an external struggle, but it drives the drama and the action, and it leads to the eventual resolution, and it gives us that so what moment, okay? So you don't have to write a story about somebody doing something terrible to you that is an argument or a negative fight or something like that with a specific person. It doesn't have to be that kind of conflict. It can be an internal struggle, because what we're looking for overall is this moment of realization and resolution. Conflict brings on resolution. And your resolution, your moment of realization, is going to be what you learned. This is where reflection comes into your essay. And you look back and you see what choices you could have made, things you wish you had done differently, things that you are doing differently now, and how this affected you overall. Okay, so that's your so what moment, right? Your moment of realization. What did you learn? How did this affect you, and what are you going to do differently? Okay? Now, the last thing that I kind of want to briefly hit on in this video tonight is this idea that we might be asking you to reflect on something that's personal or painful that might make you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to write about. Okay? Remember that your topic choice is your topic choice. You can choose what you want to write about. Okay? If an event or conflict left you with really challenging, painful memories, don't feel pressured into writing about that particular event, okay? This could be something as simple as, I wore the wrong shoes to the amusement park and I realized that I cannot let vanity color my day-to-day life, right? If you feel pressured into writing something that makes you uncomfortable, step back, do some more generating of ideas, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and come up with a different story to tell me, okay? Now, at the same time, I don't want you to come up with something so simplistic that there's not a moment of realization. I want to see some real moments of honesty out of you and some real growth and reflection, okay? But don't write about anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. Remember that your audience is a general academic audience, okay? So when you write this narrative, think of an event or a situation and use language and description and action that you feel comfortable sharing with that general academic audience. Okay, thank you for watching this video this evening. I'm going to follow up with 2 other videos that are going to deal with the construction of a thesis statement. So be on the lookout for that, and you guys have a fabulous night. Thank you so much.